Hello, hello. How y'all doing? We've got some more React Fiber today. React 3 Fiber. It is a React component library that is built on top of three.js, which is a WebGL framework, I guess you'd say. And that helps us do 3D things in the browser. We've had a couple streams on it now, and I think today we're going to start looking at textures. Textures, materials, colors, that sort of thing. So the last time around, I would say, pretty much completed pulling in text that reacts to things that you type in the browser. So if I did I put it on this one? Oh, I did not put it on this one. Let's bounce over to the display right away. So I've got the server running. Our canvas should be in here. Unless I got an error. What? Effection error. I feel like this has happened a couple streams now where we get something, finally get something working. We're feeling good. We call it the stream end, and then next time I open it, it's broken. Some of the caching stuff I'm pretty sure it's parcel, throws me for a loop. No, pun intended. Okay, so array. I was looking at arrays and collections. Okay. Okay. So what I had just dropped in, we have. Could that be the issue? So we've got this Twitch input. I just updated this. Comfy.js and net. Could that be? Could that be? We are going to try this instead. I'm not going to open it up. I'm not just going to change that. We're just going to pull this out for the moment. Except I guess I kind of want the params in there. Oop. So we've got two variables that we're passing to Comfy.js. Comfy.js is the library that helps us connect to the Twitch IRC based chat, and it uses WebSockets to connect to some of the other parts of Twitch that you can't or are unavailable via the IRC endpoint or the IRC gateway. It needs two things: the channel name and the password. And the password is used in specific cases, of which you can get it via these URLs. It's used in specific cases such as channel print redemptions. So I dropped this in here just so we could actually see something coming through. I think what's happening is we are actually getting an error there. Is that what's happening? Yeah. So does it really not like that password? Interesting. Let me throw this off screen real quick. Double check that I didn't do anything funny. Um, from constants. Oh. Let's try this. There we go. And you can see here we're connected to the IRC chat. Yeah, I was importing a named thing called password, and we already had password in the scope, so they were clashing. So that was the issue there. Let's make sure I don't get anything else going on. No, we are good. Okay, so we should have a connection to the IRC chat. We have in our app JS, we are just looking currently at the commands. So if you run a, let's see if I can reset my overlay, 3D, now if I did the overlay right, I didn't put it in this scene either. I added a new scene called overlay. Oh, I've got it turned off. You're not going to actually be able to see it. Overlay. There we go. There we go. So now it's showing up in the main area. Oh, I spelled that wrong. So we've got that text, and it's centering pretty decently. That was mostly what we worked on and dealt with last time, cameras and getting that all squared away. I think we could potentially switch this to, so right now we're doing Twitch event. Okay, so we are logging out all the Twitch events. So you'll see text message. Okay. You will see, oh, we got a bunch of logs in here. Here, event. So we'll see commands, and we're going to see some other things such as, yeah, we should see all the events in here coming through. So all the events should come through, and we should now be getting channel point redemptions. So if we drop in a channel point redemption, you should see it. Oh, we're filtering up here too. Oh, this is just grabbing that. Okay. Twitch, yep. So we are currently just filtering on commands. Um, so channel commands, that's just going to give us the commands. So I think it's something like on do we just keep on expanding this and say on raid? Or excuse me, on channel point redemption? Compete.js. What is the thing for raid? Or I keep saying raid. I mean, we'll want to do a raid thing eventually. But the ones that I care about, I guess, are follow on. Where's the events? Here we go. On, I wonder why those weren't. On raid, on sub, on connected, on error. So we've got on command right now. On chat, something we could potentially do. Channel point redemptions, okay, on reward. I guess we just do a new one. Channel commands, channel point redemption. We'll spell it out, sure. So this is on reward. We don't care about that. Not quite sure what my ID is chugging out here. Okay. So use operation. It's only going to change when we change that. So I think we can stuff it all in the same use operation. So we'd have a for each. For each is oh, maybe not. No, you're just giving it one operation. Okay. Do this, and we'll do this. Okay, so that should give us 10 channel point redemptions. Is that set Twitch event? So it's not really a Twitch event. I think I might actually change this. You're gonna call it we're gonna have a couple states. And I might actually want to pull this out. But this is sort of the so the reason we set it up like this is once we go into a canvas, this canvas does I'm presuming like a React portal or something like that, where we actually get like a whole separate tree. And that breaks the expectations around the React context, which is where we are setting up our stream stuff. So we need to have this in the same component tree as where we access it. So we moved this up into the app because we have a really shallow tree so far. So it might potentially make sense to pull this out, extract this out a little bit more, and not have app be conflated with so much. but we're going to have a thing that's like sitting above the canvas. And I think we could potentially have multiple canvases. I don't know what performance wise, like what is the considerations around that. So that might be something we need to look into. But we can deal with that. So let's update this a little bit. We're going to have a state for we'll call it Twitch command, set Twitch command. And Twitch command goes into Twitch event. So that'll still give us a text message. That is strictly just for the command though. And it is strictly for the 3D command as well, because we are checking the args to make sure that it says 3D. So I think we're going to leave that one set around. We might change it in the future. Let's do all those. Text message is still going to be there. And we're going to update our text layer to consider that. We're still using, okay. So we're still doing the bounding box, but I don't think we're actually using that anymore. Let's get rid of some of these console logs. So last time we kind of figured out this, and we can chain together. This is coming from React Spring. React Spring is the library that helps with transitions. So when CSS used to not have as many features as it does now. So many of the things that you can do these days as far as transitions and motion and animation can potentially be done in CSS. And that was originally, I think, what React Spring was made for, which is the library that we're using here. At least as a basis. But CSS has come some ways, so that it's less often needed, maybe is the best way to say it. But I think, as far as I know, as in WebGL, we still need some sort of library to help with animation. So React 3 Fibers sits on top, or excuse me, React Spring 3 sits on top of React Spring, and that's what's helping us handle our transitions. And we had switched from this from enter and leave, or switched to this from enter and leave architecture from use Spring, which is a little bit more of a straightforward to and from. But we wanted to be able to potentially have multiple things entering, and we wanted a chain, and that's what ends up giving us this. So it comes in, we're waiting for, I mean, I've also hard coded the duration here, which we might want to change. But it comes in, the next key is wait. So when we're on the wait, then we are waiting for that duration. I could probably do like, can I just do like true and false maybe? Maybe that'll be a little bit clearer. I'm fine with leaving the duration here, honestly. Is that gonna work? No, it did not. So if we do that, I wonder if it's like a true false kind of thing going on here. So this overlay that's on the whole thing is also connected to the same local host here. occasionally we might need to refresh that, so that could become stale. I can probably, here, I'll turn it off for the moment. But if this starts getting out of sync with that, that's probably why. Okay, so now it's sitting for longer. All right. I guess it doesn't like booleans, which is interesting. So we have split out the on command and on reward. Channel point redemption. So we need a new state, and we're going to call that Twitch reward. I'm going to call it redemption. Is it? What is it? Channel. I guess it says rewards and challenges. Channel point redemption is what I always end up saying. Channel point, channel point. I think I'm gonna leave it with redemption. I kind of like that better. So we need to set the Twitch redemption here. So now we have a new thing. Text layer takes those two inputs. Are we doing anything else special there? Can we copy and paste is the question that I am wondering. I mean, this is probably fine. Like we could still do this. And I'm still okay with all of this, I think. So I think we have set it up in a way that I can potentially do this because it's going to be in HTML. If you have multiple elements, it's going to like create a list unless you had to add additional CSS. The way that we position things in WebGL is via 3D space. So we're putting everything at the origin as a default, which would be like 0, 0, 0, x 0, y 0, z 0, which is the Cartesian coordinate system. So if we add additional text layers, we are going to be putting more elements at that origin, which I think in this case is fine. We might end up having, if multiple things come in at the same time, they might end up overlapping, which is a little bit annoying, but I think we just sit in that for the moment. So we need to set Twitch redemption. I think I'm going to switch this to just set Twitch. So then that lets us extract that out a little bit. All we're doing here is just like resetting it. And I wonder too if we can play with that a little bit as well. So now let's go ahead and just log out a channel point redemption and see what it looks like. If we have set this all up correctly, we should be able to do channel point redemption. There we go. And on that note, I'm going to grab my water. 1 second. All right. So we got the event on reward. We got the args, the command. I wonder what this. I wonder what that third arg is. Let's check that real quick. User reward cost message extra message. Oh, so you can. So some of them let you actually do a message. Got it. I think I'm just gonna stick with one right now. I don't know that I have anything that actually says a message. So this 3, I think, is mostly going to be blank. So we can do a text message. We'll just leave that as text message. And I'll just make a new one. Const reward message equals that. Not quite sure why you're complaining about that, but yeah, there we go. So Twitch redemption. What do we want to say? We want to probably say, put it in the string, Twitch redemption args 1. That'll say hydrate. I guess we just say username redeemed, maybe. What do you think about that? There you go. Set Twitch command is not a function. So it looks like we forgot a set Twitch. Is it caching something here? Ah. So we do some checking here to pull out the right stuff. I don't actually need that in there anymore, because this is now only doing it on the command. So we can simplify that a little bit. I think we want to just do it's complaining because there's no args. So if that is defined, otherwise let's just do a simple string. Cannot read properties of undefined. Oh. Cannot read properties of undefined. So Twitch redemption args. So if that is defined, we want to do that. So what's not defined? Cannot read properties of undefined. Oh, I think it's doing it on that line 39 because I removed the check, so I did two things at the same time. There we go. Okay. Let's just empty the cache one more time. We do need to deal with that too. I think we're still technically, even though we're on React 18, we're still using React 17 because of this. Cannot read properties of undefined. Reading 1. I don't understand why it's... It's weird that it loads. What's undefined? Oh, 42 and 43 are undefined. So that's fine. I mean, I guess what I can do too here is I can say something like that. Because if we have 0, we should have 1. I think that's probably a reasonable assumption. Why do we keep line 39? It seems like that other line that I removed was saving us a bunch of effort. There we go. Okay, finally. So now, if we do this, there we go. So the reason we did that is now we can start throwing some materials on here. And I think there is a library that we could pull in that it's going to have a lot of materials. And then what we can do is add a channel point redemption where you specify. So we could put this behind a command so that anybody can use it. The downside is that somebody could come in and abuse it. With a channel point redemption, we can drop it on here. We can put the cost to do that pretty low. So like you can hop in the chat and do it pretty soon after watching, watch for a few minutes or whatever, and you'd be able to start running these. But we can also put it on a cooldown, which I think is globally unique. So it would be a cooldown for everybody. So like you could only run these every 30 seconds or something. So I think that'll help a lot as far as potential for abuse, reducing that. So now that we've got the channel point redemptions here, we can start playing around with those materials. And we'll probably have to pass in an additional prop to tell it which material to use. But first, let's pull up the materials. So I had saved on my phone a GitHub repo with a bunch of materials. And I had saved it just for this time. I wonder what the difference is between these. Oh, interesting. So it's got a big JSON file. So what is this? Dynamic gallery. Oh. Okay. So Observable is a website created by the folk behind three.js, which is another library that does graphical things. That's pretty sweet. So in this, I don't know the difference between these. So the other one that I pulled up. Let's. Where did? Oh, that's all the stuff from last time. That's funny. You can see what we were working on last time. Um, where did that meal? Here we go. Okay. So we've got two. This one was a fork, and they added a JSON file to it. I'm not sure what the value of that is. But so this repo, despite it being not touched, with a few years, I don't know that that matters because the bulk of this is this options, palettes, and it pretty much just is all linking to a PNG. So texture, when we have a 3D object, we can take a texture and apply it to it. That texture is a picture. And depending on the picture and how we're applying it, if it's just like one solid color, you're basically just like putting stamps around this whole thing. So that's part of why they give you the different sizes. Because some of these, I'm guessing most of these, I mean, they've got pictures now, so don't even really need this. Although we can see it in 3D, which I think is kind of nice. Because some of these, like this metallic-y kind of stuff, it looks cool. But like I think you can get a much better feel for what it's going to look like when you have it doing that, which is kind of nifty. So I think as far as textures go, you want a bigger image if you want something, if you're applying something with more detail. If it's a texture, depending on the texture and like the size of the like within that texture, it's not just one solid color. A texture is colors that are depending on what the texture is doing, very close to or to have different effects. And depending on the texture, you can show that, or you can represent that in either a very small piece. So if it tends to be sort of a color that does not vary much, you could potentially represent that as a very small image. So I think that's the main reason behind having various sizes. And then they just give you all the options for everything, I'm presuming, to make it easy. Because some of these I imagine wouldn't need that. But like this, there's variation there. Whoa. So that variation, it's difficult to represent that in like a couple small pixels. 64 you might be able to represent that. Oh, hey, well, oh, look at that. That's great. So the higher the image you have, the more detailed type of textures you're going to have. Which, I mean, it kind of makes sense. So, observable columns, select, shuffle. So how are they getting these? Okay, so they are actually importing directly from a URL. So we can do that. I suspect we probably will want to pull it into the repo at some point. But let's grab some colors. How are we gonna? Is there a way we can make that dynamic? That's probably the crux of it. And I don't know if we're gonna actually need that. Oh, this is on their site, so they're serving it through. It's not actually coming from here. They're actually serving it from their own website. Okay. So it looks like they have combined it from a bunch of different places. And they don't really have too much more information. So the question is, if we have a URL, let's pick one and let's bring it in and see what it looks like. This is how we can do it effectively via three.js, but we need to do it within React Fiber 3. So let's go to React. I messed it up. I was doing so good. React 3 Fiber. What can you do? Loading textures. Well, would you look at that? So we get a use loader and texture loader. So we pull in the texture loader from three.js, and then we just give it a URL. Wow. Color map. Where's color map used? Mesh standard material. Oh, map. The second argument is array, where you can pass all the textures you have in the master returned and be ready to use. So we can grab multiple and then just swap between them. And then how do we decide which one to use? So there's a use texture from React 3 dry, use texture. And I think we're potentially going to do that. So that'll give us a color map, which gets us to the same spot as doing this. So we can give it a bunch of URLs. And then it's going to give us this. Use texture. And then we can pass it directly. Like that. That's pretty succinct. I don't know that. Oh, okay. So you can give it multiple value or multiple imports. Each of these is going to represent a different piece of building up that texture. So this is a lot of Okay, so this has a lot of IDs. Get random material. three.js object. So yeah, that's pretty nifty. Okay, so what is it giving us? I guess we can give it. Let's go to the use texture. I mean, I guess it really already kind of tells us how to do it here. But let's go ahead and go to documentation here. We'll say use texture. Is it giving us anything else? So all we need to really is the URL. Okay, so it's just loading. Whoa. Metalness map? What is KTX2? Cube texture loader. Okay. So there's a bunch of stuff. Huh. And the other thing too, it would be cool to work with like the physicality of it too. So if we have like two events that come in, we could have one like potentially push the other one out of the way, physics style, which would be fun. Use FBX, use GLTF, and wait with it. We use this one in past streams. So I think to come back around to this, what this is doing here, we're loading multiple images. Each image has a specific like set of information that we care about: the color, displacement, normal, roughness, and ambient occlusion. I guess the color is sort of self-explanatory, but these other ones give information that describes the texture. So we kind of want to look at this mesh standard material. Kitty is saying hi. Can you say hi, Kitty? Hi. So I guess let's just try playing in a color map and see what that looks like. I don't know if we want to map this stuff. Do we need to like this? Is this strictly going to be used as like a color map, or are we needing to, or can we use this as like a texture, or what's the word, displacement map? I've definitely heard all of these before: ambient occlusion, roughness, normal, and displacement. But I don't know off the top of my head what they mean. So we might end up looking into that as well. But for the most part, we're going to be pulling this in and just dumping it right into our. So we're using mesh. So we're using mesh normal material. I don't know that there is really. We're not actually importing it in or anything. I don't know what the difference is between any of these. The mesh standard. Okay. So it does take all these. We can try this. I don't know if we need to like specify the displacement scale or anything like that. But what we're gonna end up doing is basically this. Well, I don't care about each of the values. I just want to get the material. Do we have any other material stuff in here? Just that. Okay. So we're going to have use check texture. We are going to give it values. It is going to give us material, and then they're just giving it the whole mess of props. This is likely going to error because we don't have, we don't have use texture imported. First of all, use texture. So let's pull in texture. Interesting. So it caught an error with the event listener. So the use texture is doing some work to what is this? So it's doing some work to determine like when it's actually loaded, because it needs to load it to be able to actually display it. Now this documentation is much different than the other documentation. Okay, so this is maybe the easier way to explain it. We are giving it a list of URLs to grab textures. So like we could grab this person's URL, which we will change. I don't know that these actually matter, but so if we switch it to this, it's going to load this green bumpy thing as a color map. And then we're passing it to the mesh standard material. It needs to know when that thing has actually been loaded because it's going and fetching that. I don't know if we're going to need to do that or how we deal with that. So we're going to have to come back to that, I think. This is because they don't even mention that here. So we don't need to import texture loader. So we can use this and just return. Okay, so they've got code sandbox. Let's see if they're doing anything extra. While that's loading, we'll refresh. So I'm guessing that's what's happening. Is we're just now waiting for that. Are you back, Kitty? Come on up. Come on. So we can see the use loader. We are giving it. Oh, so this isn't using the dry. Got it. So like these are the two options. We can do this one or the other one. Pretty similar at the end of the day. And we're applying it to the mesh standard material. So animated mesh, so we're within a mesh. Are we using an ambient light? Kind of a side question, but Kitty disappeared. Left her hair floating around and just making my nose itchy. All right, no breakpoint. Color map is just being passed in directly. Oh, what's this? Oh, Oh, interesting. There's another place for textures. That's pretty nifty. I like it. Um, yeah, I mean, oh, that might take a. It's big, but not ridiculous. So, like, that's pretty cool. Um, we will save that in our back pocket as well. I don't know if we're gonna give just a specific set of options, or if we can open up to anybody putting in a URL. Mm-hmm. But regardless, we need to give it a URL. It'll load it, and then it's gonna return. So we are getting component set suspended while a component suspended while responding to synchronous input. This will cause UI to be replaced with a loading indicator. I mean, that's fine, right? So it looks like it's doing suspense things, and then we're getting an error on the add event listener, which must have something to do with suspense. Just to confirm that texture loading is the thing causing us the issue. Nope. Come on. Let's just give it an empty object for the moment. Oh. Oh, did not save. It did not save. So how do we deal with that? We have a null fallback. Use texture. Are they doing anything here? I just want to close this. No, oh no, that's not what I wanted. How to close the sidebar? Browser tests, app, toggle preview. There we go. Okay. So they've got the two options. So like we could go and I think this is gonna fork at the moment I do this, but oh, I guess not. Maybe they updated it. That's gonna give us the same thing. This is with an app. It's doing this just as a way to make it easier to import this a whole bunch of times using those. So it's not doing anything with suspension. It's straight up doing use texture and then doing the thing. So we've got this whole thing wrapped in a float right now. We could take off the suspense and see what happens. Um, hmm. And I mean, it could very well be that. I guess it's specifying those as array. So I don't know if that matters. Oop, close the array. Let's try specifying it as an array. It then does this specifically too. We might want to just give that a shot. Yeah. We can probably do the props thing, but tickle in my throat. I think there's some issue with the props thing. So if we do map equals color map, I don't know if that's like the minimum thing that's needed. We are still getting that. So, I mean, it could very well be the suspense. I haven't used suspense enough to have a good feel for dealing with the error messages. Could not read properties null, and we're not getting 42 and 43. Oh, that's in the other. That's an app. So we're not actually getting any React DevTools cannot read properties null. So it's doing forward ref. I don't know if we need the ref anymore for this mesh. And that's the other thing. That could be complicating it. We might need to be applying the mesh or the texture to the mesh. I am not certain though. So we're gonna need to figure that out. So this example seems fine, but I think we're doing enough different that we're running into this issue. Oh, I guess I had it open already. If we go to so loading textures, this is specifically dumping it into mesh standard material, which is part of mesh. We also have using with React Spring. So this is using React Spring and then props in our 3D mesh. So we have a mesh. What is this my mesh again? That's what we had, but I don't know why we need a ref. Animated, a component that is used instead of your DOM or mesh. So instead of using mesh, you will use animated.mesh. So it could very well be that removing that mesh is also, I mean, we're getting the errors. I think we do want to have this in there. It doesn't seem like suspense is changing anything. So we're going to put, whoop. Not quite sure why it's doing that, but And I don't know if this is actually affecting it all either. We were getting values. We were getting values. We are getting a texture. And it is giving us information. And that actually looks pretty valid. And we're getting a bunch of other undefines. That's expected, I guess. I don't know why we get this though. Um, I'm just gonna use the same thing for all of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Just to make sure. Yeah, we're still getting that. Was it actually the fact that I moved it out? So if I make a change and it hot reloads, then it works. Or at least it appears to work. So if I just hit save here, it'll hot reload and now it's loading the textures. So if I say, you can't see it, but it does look different. And it is, the texture is showing it multiple times. I don't know if this is actually making a difference or not. So like it could very well be working. No, it's just keep spamming the chat with howdy. Oh, okay. So this is the 3D command. We Oh no, we're doing it directly in here. So I should work on both the 3D command and on the other thing as well. Um, so why are we're getting a texture and we could put in multiple textures. Um, is this gonna help us anymore? Oh, that's pretty sweet. I am actually going to switch to that one whenever this does end up working. I like the look. I like the look. Um, that's so wild though. So now it works. It has to be something with it loading too fast. It still seems off. The question is why. Use the onload callback to set properties on loaded textures. I don't know what that does. And I don't know if it matters. And I particularly don't understand like what What's mesh Phong material? So like if we would just drop this in instead, take that out for a second, just drop that right in. It is a specific color. It's still loading. Still trying to load the texture because we're using use texture. So that could be it. It could be something with the texture. What is this? Interesting. Why is it gray? So it's almost like these aren't actually loading or doing anything right now. Is what it feels like. Why? I do not oh. I mean it's possible. It's entirely possible. It's a different color now. Hi kitty. You might be able to hear it a little bit. I was wondering if you could hear it. Okay, so why are we just getting a color? So it has a texture. You place it in the public folder of your site to download it. So this is using mesh standard material with a suspense fallback on the scene. This is the scene, which is our text layer. Shouldn't matter that we are also wrapping this in a suspense, because we don't have one at the, I guess, the app layer now. So why would the mesh does not be working? Mesh. This is kind of interesting. One draw call. Um, and we might end up wanting to do something like this. The level of detail, medium detail. Like we need to do anything with ray casting, more ray casting, mesh. Oh, that's kind of interesting. Run inside of a portal and separate from the rest of the canvas. Oh. I don't think that's going to actually be helpful to us, but nice to keep in mind. Mask, that's kind of nifty. Everything just says mesh standard material. So let's check out, let's say three.js mesh standard material. Let's look at their docs. Physically based rendering. Interesting. So we get more accurate and realistic results than with the mesh Lambert material or mesh Phong material. So there's and here it's talking about the ambient occlusion, textures, and displacement map. Oh. Okay. I don't feel like that actually matters at all. I think we need to figure out why we're not really getting any. Like this should make it a color. So there's something going on, I think, that is affecting that. And why is the question? Let's look at the text 3D. Text 3D. It has a mesh normal material. And they don't really give you much else here. Okay. So if we take we're gonna take and copy it. So we're gonna have another one. And this is just gonna say test. So this will give us something that'll be shown on the screen all the time. Right? Oh, we've got transitions in here. Okay. So this will actually show up. That's gonna actually show up as part of the transition. It's okay. Let's take this off. Can we just do reset? Oh, let's just take off the unrest. So that won't reset it every time. And I still don't know why that's happening. So now it'll stick around. If we change it, is it going to actually reset the whole? Okay, so it doesn't seem to be actually resetting the canvas. And that might have something to do with the way React Fiber 3 is doing it. The hot reloading of parcel, maybe that's sticking around. So maybe it's not specifically a parcel thing, but the cache with parcel working with React 3 Fiber. Maybe that's where we're getting into weird things. Back up so Kitty can sit. So why is mesh Phong material not working? Why is no material? Oh, you know what? So if we look at loading textures has an ambient light. I bet you that is our issue here. Hi, Kitty. Yes, we do hear you. So let's back. Okay, so we kind of want the directional light. I don't know. That must be coming from the camera. Yeah, it looks like it's coming from the camera. And that'll give us a little bit more edge. We are... Hi, yep. Hi. Dope. It works. We took out the light. So we had a mesh normal material before. For some reason, it didn't need a light. I'm not sure why, but that was the missing piece there. So I don't know that we actually need any of these other values. Where did my window go? Here we go. Okay. So if we do, like we've got that. If we just grab the color mat, well, let's just do the whole material. Say material. I think it can deal with all those. We will see what it does. We're also going to have to deal with that. I don't really want those errors in there all the time. And no, they're not going away. Color map is not color map is not defined. Because we've got a log. Nope, still getting there. Okay. All is well in the world. Why we're getting that error is still unknown, but cat error all over my keyboard. Kitty kitty. It's kind of gray though. Mesh standard material. We don't need this anymore. Still sticking around. I wonder if that has something to do with. So do we need to specify this specifically as the map? We might need to put this use texture, wrap that in something. You know what? I bet you that's what it is. We're gonna move our suspense. We don't need to do the suspension here. I think we should be doing the suspension here, because then we will be wrapping our whole text layer, which will include, what did I miss here? Float. I'm actually gonna take this out too, because I don't think we need to get too fancy with our lights. So I think we can just put it on kind of that top layer here. And I believe since we have multiple layers there, that's gonna let us start doing like the physicality kind of thing. Suspense is not defined. Yep. A little bit hard to read, but I mean, I can live with this. So if we toggle our 3D overlay on again, we should be able to see. Look at that. It's still a little bit big, and we may want to like move it up and whatnot. And we'll have to be careful with the material. But we can probably make a channel point redemption that has the 3D command like embedded in it and lets you set out an ID. If you don't set an ID, then we just fall back. Sweet. We want to put in the rest again, so we are getting rid of this. I think this will make, I don't know if that's actually going to reset or not. Let's just turn it off and on again. I ended up putting a button on my Stream Deck, because I figured we'd have to do that a little bit. What other options do we got? Oh, hi, kitty. I mean, some of these are going to be really nifty, but I don't know if they're going to be actually something that will be legible. That's not bad. Those edges and whatnot, I kind of like it. Some of these like soft silvery ones. Ooh. Whoa. What should we go with? And see, like that one's got a little bit of like texture in there. Ooh, too much. Big purple, really chrome-ish. Getting a bunch of different like whites. I think we're gonna go, I kind of like the bluish, although I don't mind that. I think we're gonna go with something in this vicinity. Was this what it was before? I think that's basically what we had before. I think this is gonna be a little bit too dark, but if we go something in the vein of like this, I think this is gonna give us the best result. And we will grab this ID. We will do that. There we go. So now we should have, go ahead and refresh this. Check that off the list. We might need to like adjust our, algorithm a little bit. That determines how that is. See, like this isn't bad. But it's a little bit tall. It could potentially be wider, and it's a little bit big. I think that maybe that's the change here. We back off. We're using a size of 1 right now. What if we do something like 0.8? We'll do 0.6. So now if we, I did put a cooldown. The position is a little bit funky now. We're still doing 1.5. But that's basically like 50% of the height. So that should end up being like 0.9. And that should give us. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. I think we'll just leave the command in for a while. So any of you, what? Yeah, we're gonna have to play around with that. It works. It looks a little funky, but it works. I am not gonna ever complain about that. Come on, clean this up a little bit. So we've got our texture. We can make this dynamic. I think we're gonna do the dynamic thing another time. We have redemptions. We can add in, if we do two at the same time, what does this end up looking like? So I'm gonna chain these. See if I can get it working. Boop, boop, boop. So they kind of float on top of each other. What time we got? What is we can do animations, events, and interaction. So we can click things. So we can add like event listeners to specific parts of the geometry or mesh. Animations would be had via React Spring. Hooks, events. On-demand rendering. Reusing geometries and materials. Okay, so this would let us do so we've got a material and we've got a geometry. Geometry, material. Geometry, material. Ah, okay. So it's just using the same thing multiple times, which we are basically doing already. Instances, level of detail. This is kind of nifty. We could add different quality levels, but I don't think that's going to matter much since for the most part, stream starts. So in our case, the stream starts. I'm going to have it loaded already. So as long as we can make sure to like have those things loaded, that I don't think it's going to be an issue. Interesting. So you can scale performance. And concurrent scheduling, specifically time slicing. I don't know that we're going to care too much about that. I don't think we're gonna have enough elements on the screen that we're gonna actually hit anything. But what I'm wondering about, if we have models and textures and animations, can we use some sort of physics to have them interact? I think React Spring can still handle moving it for us. Let's see what helpers we have in dry. You pull in shapes. So like we could do a thing where like we can have a command that and like shoots a bunch of circles or spheres into the air and let them drop. But I think use Matcap. Oh, hey, look at that. Use the Matcap. Okay. Index size. Okay. That's why they did that. That is why they did that. Got it. So we could do that because somebody's specifying a number would be much easier to do. A normal map. Okay. What's the difference between... Oh. I see. So a normal map is the thing that... We've got multiple colors going on here. The multiple colors are the thing that defines the texture. So when it sees this JPEG, which is obviously it's a 2D image because we're looking at a computer screen, so it's 2D, but we're faking the 3D based on how it's rotating and how light is hitting and affecting it. And each of these colors is representing depth, kind of like if you would see a topology map. Every time you have a different a change in depth, you have an extra line. So let's see if we can pull up a topology. This might be something like that. So you can see we've got a mountain. Every time we have a transition from one elevation to another elevation, we have a line, and we can represent the 3D depth via the lines and the contours in 2D. And as I understand so I think the normal maps, what it's doing here is using those colors kind of like a topology. So one color is representing one depth and you transition between the different colors. And that's how we're effectively representing the depth. So if we come back to this, we have a use Matcap texture in which we can also do that. We have to say mesh Matcap material. So we can set two textures. Loads normal textures, loads Matcap textures. So I guess these kind of have it embedded in them. So if we were doing something like a normal mesh standard material, we're giving it a normal map. So this is a special thing here, I guess. This is probably going to be the easy one to deal with right now. We're gonna drop this in here real quick. That will let us switch between it pretty easily. We're gonna say this. I'm gonna grab this. If it definitely feels kind of funky that like these are just embedded right in there. But you know, it is what it is. So we are going to switch it to be this. We don't need to use a map property anymore, but we can specify this directly. And note, it is saying you shouldn't use it in a production environment. That is if you are pushing it up to a website and lots of people are hitting this. You're gonna, every time somebody visits it, they're gonna be hitting the CDN. You're seeing it via the video, so it's literally just gonna be me using it. So I think it's probably fine to just use it directly. I doubt that the load there is going to be that big of a deal. So I think we can kind of just use it directly. Use Matcap texture. We now need to load that in. Place of use texture. There we go. So now we should be able to say, let's just do a channel point redemption. Sweet. I think the sizing is good. I think all that is pretty good. We can play around with that more in the future. But now we have a way that we can say, where's the dry? So we can give it two variables. I guess I would want to say hard coding it. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to drop that in here as a note for later. We can do this and this. There we go. Okay, so now we have a default. It's looking pretty decent. It's different than the texture we had before. We're understanding how it's loading. We always need to remember to light it. We can't see texture if there isn't light to show that. It was kind of weird that it was white before. When it switched to black, that's kind of what made me clued me into this. Because if it's the white background is sort of a weird thing. Like you see white, you think that there's light illuminating it. But the fact that the model was completely black kind of keyed me into the fact that it wasn't lit, in which case we needed to add these. Ambient light is going to help show the color, but the directional light is going to give us a little bit of that depth. If you have a perfectly ambient light and it's lit, if an object is lit the same all the way around it, you're not going to really, those edges aren't going to pop. And we kind of want that. We kind of want that in this case. Okay, so I think we got the mesh figured out. We know where that's pulling from. We have a note to ourselves where it's pulling from. We will get all of that. And these are pretty cool too. Let's make a note. We could also look at using these. So we're going to call that good. And we're going to go back to, can we do anything with physics via React 3 dry? So staging, shapes. What's a screen quad? A triangle that fills a screen. Oh, okay. Loaders, texture loaders, progress loaders, performance things, portals. There's camera things that we could potentially play around with. Use intersect. What is this? Okay. Okay. I don't know that the use intersect is gonna be any helpful at all. I'm kind of going through this backwards too, which is fun. So, what's the shaders? How is that differing from reflections or add blur to any mesh? So it's extending from the mesh standard material. So we are kind of using that, I guess. Mesh reflector material. So this is something that we are actually importing. I think that's something that we do need to. Okay, I'm gonna. Well, what I was gonna say is I think we need to take into account when we're trying to read this. Anytime it has a lowercase value, it just seems to be available. Like it's just part of it, which feels odd to me. I feel like I should be importing it. That definitely throws me off. But animated is something I have imported, and it's lowercase. So, yeah, that's the thing. Um, is that a three.js? No, JSX thing? Is that actually like a WebGL mesh dash? I mean, well, it can't be. I would doubt there's a Matcap material built into WebGL. They must be using some like JSX Pragma something or other to do that. I'm not sure. Unknown, but we could come back to it. Oh, soft shadows. That's kind of nifty. Wow. So shader materials. So I mean, we could do something like shadows. That might be kind of cool. Mesh distort material. Hmm. I'm not gonna roll that out. um. That no that's dope. Like these kind of things. I really like this. I really like this. The like kind of artsy stylizing on it too. It almost does like a cell shaded look. I really like that. And here, so this is something that that's fun. Slow mo walk. Crossfitting from run to walk. Oh, that's cool. Okay. Skeleton. I think that's probably the thing that we're gonna start messing around with next. I don't know if we're gonna. We're probably gonna start going and digging into Blender. We'll have to figure out a topic and like a model that we want to reach for, and we might start out with some simple things first. But being able to do the animations, I think, is something that's really interesting, and that we could pull it into our model. And this is really nifty too, that we can like slice. There are within Blender add-ons as well, so like we could make some cool things, and then drop them right into our scene. Effects. Whoa. So is there frame buffer geometry? Terrain. This is kind of cool. I like the reflection. Now I'm curious. Some of these probably there's 1,000 things drawn here. Keeping an eye on my skip frames. It's possible some of this stuff can start chugging on that computer a little bit. It's pretty efficient though. That's what's really neat about this. I mean, we're getting 120 frames per second while streaming on not a. I mean, my computer's decent. It's not amazing, but like good performance. Okay, so this is a light. Physically accurate incandescent bulb. That's nifty. More point lights. Some more lights, lines, loaders. So loaders are the thing that we were getting into. Oh, nice. Star Wars. I appreciate that. GLTF is what we had experimented before. This is a really dope model, I'm not gonna lie. Questionably realistic maybe, but sweet. And like you can do some cool things with these models. Wayfair. Nice. We're getting that like reflection off of it. There's variance too. So that when we make a model, we can have these textures, we can swap them out. So that's things that we can play around with. But do we have, is there any like physics? SVG loader. Whoa, look at that. Okay. I didn't know you could load SVG. That's cool. Body textures. Whoa. Just have like the perfect size, perfect window size that it was flipping out. We were just playing around with some materials. And this is what we were talking about with these textures. You get that bump map in there, and that's what's affecting the light, and that's what gives you that feel for depth. Pretty cool car. There's a lot of examples. I was not expecting this many examples when I started going through this. Modifiers, curves, targets, sphere, performance. Now keep in mind, I'm looking for anything related to physics. I don't think any of these are yet. Tone mapping. That's cool. Whoa, a video. Oh, would you look at that? They don't have any credits or anything, do they? Is this? Is this the Hadron Collider? That could be. Lots crossfade. Depth of field. Oh yeah, sure enough. That's cool. Um, oh, we could potentially do something like that, but it's kind of not very readable. A lightning strike. Wow. Shadow map. WebGL 2. WebGPU. So WebGPU is a new. There you go. Is a new API. Oh, hey, look at that. We can do sounds. Now are we getting? No, we're not getting sounds through. Can we do that real quick? I don't know if we're gonna get too much further with this, but browser. Um, it's really loud in my headset though. I'm gonna have to play around with that a little bit. Let's go ahead and take that back off. Okay. What else do we got? VR stuff. Cool. VR not supported. Yep. Okay. Physics. Hey, here we go. All right. Ammo. So what's ammo? That's cool. So I don't know miscellaneous. CSS 2D or 3D? Huh. So those are just CSS, I guess? Nice. SVG and tests. Okay. So there is React 3 fiber physics. I wonder if they're use Canon. Okay. Oh yeah. Is that not listed on their site? Oh, I guess it's dry. PNNDR. PMNRS. They don't have it on here. That's why I didn't notice it. Okay. But they do have this. Use Canon. Okay. Oh, nice. Okay. So we have an option built into, well, not built into, but extending Canon ES. What's ES? Okay. So is Canon JS not active anymore? Oh, Canon JS is not active anymore. Okay. Um, at least I'm assuming so. I mean, it's been a few years. So it looks like they forked it, and now this is built on top of the fork. WebWork API used by React 3 Canon. Okay. What examples do we have? Demos, Raycast. Cube heap. So we pull in the canvas, there's physics. Physics use box. So I guess we just wrap the thing in physics. Dare we? Nice color palettes. React 3 instanced meshes to use box. This might have to be another time. We've got a whole bunch of refs. Plain boxes. So what our canvas ends up having a spotlight. Oh, I'm gonna have to look into lighting too. That probably is gonna come more when we start playing around with Blender, I think. But I'm not gonna rule that out. Should we try it? Let's try it real quick. If it doesn't work, we're gonna call it. If it does work, we're gonna call it a day still. But yeah, let's give it a shot real quick. Bat package. I guess this is probably gonna go in dependencies, eh? npm add this. There's not too much in the way of create a physics world, pick a shape. Okay. So there's ways we can define the contact surface. And then we gotta time together. Use frame, use effect. Okay. So it might not be awful. We do have a ref in here already for the animation. Use plane is going to give us a ref. I don't know what that's actually doing though. So let's go ahead and grab this. I think we're just going to say use plane. Plane, I'm presuming, is in 3D modeling, a plane is typically like a flat surface. So I think if you use a box, it's trying to draw like a box around the thing. A plane, I'm presuming, is going to be like the mesh surfaces. I think we want to try the we don't want it in this one though. I think we're going to put it in the root. Drop it here. We're going to put it within our canvas. And then on the text layer, I think we're going to like subscribe the text layer to this mesh. So it's got a cube and a plane right now. Box, I'm guessing, is just similar to a plane. Oh, let's make a cube falling onto a plane. Okay, so a plane would be like the floor. So that's not actually what we want. What other options do we have? I mean, we could just call it a box. Like it'll be fine for right now. So we're gonna get rid of the plane. We're gonna assume that there's not like a floor, but we probably want to presume such at some point. So we are going to get a ref. We're going to call it mesh ref still. Get rid of the React. Use box. Props. What are the props? Not giving it any props right now. Position. I don't need to mess with the position at all, I don't think. Let's see what it does. Because we also have the transitions and the animations that are going to be affecting the position. Oh. So I don't know if the physics is going to clash with the animations. Because physics is effectively going to be giving you like gravity. If you do a transition and it's affected by both the transition and gravity, so if we do a couple of them, see, and so we've got it. It's not going to be doing. Hey, howdy. Glad you could stop by. Whoa is a good sign, I'm presuming. Let's drop a hydrate on there. Yeah, see, I don't think the physics is going to necessarily work with the animation. They're kind of doing two different things. So we may end up having like sub scenes. Thank you. This is using WebGL. WebGL is a low-level API within the browser. You can type in there too. Go for it. Right now, it is pulling from the IRC chat, and I don't have it locked down at all. So keep it family friendly, please. You got no time. I feel that. The library that's used to control the web browser API, just in the chat, type, just like all the other chat commands that I've done above. It's using three.js. Three.js uses the WebGL APIs. Three.js can then be used. There you go. React 3 Fiber is a React-based framework that relies on some React APIs to improve performance using three.js APIs. And then we're also using a helper library called React 3 Dry. And we're tossing in a texture. So we can also make the texture dynamic now. We just added that today, but we haven't hooked up the dynamic part of it yet. I'll have to think a little bit about how we want to let you specify a number. And the texture would be like the coloring, so it'll have like a different color. I suppose we could just do like math.random or something. But I kind of like this texture. So a default fallback would be nice. Yeah, we'll have to think about that a little bit. Maybe a different command or something. But we can do different textures. And what we were just trying to do is toss in physics. So right now we have React Spring used through React Spring 3 to do these transitions where it pops up and goes back down. The thing that we were trying to add was wrapping it in this physics, which uses React 3 Canon, which is built on top of Canon ES, which is a fork of Canon JS. Woo! And I was curious how the physics would interact with the animations that we have via the React 3 or React Spring. Doesn't seem like they actually. It seems like we're going to either have to do animations or physics, like it's going to be an either or. But when we, in future streams, potentially next week's stream, we'll have to see. We'll probably start pulling up Blender and playing around with 3D models, in which case we could bring those in and do physics stuff. So we can build some undecided type of model wired up with animations and trigger animations via commands and apply physics to it. So then I think what will end up happening is the text will be just an animation via React Spring. They will come in and then we're going to have a separate physics layer. So I presume it's going to end up being something like this, where frame will be whatever model we'd cook up in Blender, model or models. So yeah, I think we hit on everything we wanted to do for the day. Figured out all our materials. We got that coming in, and we can hook it up to be dynamic pretty easily now. So it's time to start looking at models next time. Physics isn't going to work with what we have, but we can hook that up to the models. So yeah, God, you could stop in. He kind of caught me right at the end of the stream. We've been going for like 2 hours now or something, 2.5. Followed on Twitter. Nice. Appreciate it. I hope to see you around. You can learn vicariously through my experimentation. So we also have all of the stream replays up on YouTube, and we've been doing these React 3 Fiber streams for maybe a month or two now. So there's a little bit of a backlog if you need something to watch to kind of catch you up on things. And there's lots of other references and tutorials out there for these things too. So feel free to hit me up if you're interested in learning more. But if you're here for the entertainment, that's always a good thing too. And if you learn something along the way, hopefully I did my job then. Anyways, that's it for today. Thanks for stopping by. Have a happy Friday, happy weekend. Learning and entertainment goes hand in hand. I feel that. Yes. Here we can do we have it on the screen? We don't have it on the screen. Oh well. Next.js. Yep. It's can we go back to, yeah, there we go. I need to put that on the other screen. So we will eventually replace this screen with a bunch of the things that we're working on. But all in due time. Get those pop-ups and such on here. I don't think, does this work on here? Did I put it on this? No, I didn't. I didn't put it on this screen. Okay. We got some scene configuration stuff to work on, but again, next time. Thanks for that. I'll hydrate on my way out. See you next time. Have a good weekend. Bye.